Hey kids, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have the Stirling Music Man on the bench today. It's a 4-string, it's an active guitar. Refer to the first video. Let's get to work. I'll try to explain what we're doing. We got this guitar. It was kind of in a hell of a state when I got it. Broken, and we glued it together. So this part was one piece. This part was another piece. When I got it, it had, it was all together. Everything was in it, and it had duct tape across here. You can see where we have put it and glued it back together. Now, once I got it apart, I realized, oh my goodness, there are like 6 pieces going on here. Now, the 2 main pieces were this part and this part. We're going to mainly concentrate on the back part. Now, I have off camera, and you can't always film this. It took 4 different gluing together sessions with clamps and dies and, all kinds of things to get this thing back together and prepping it. I can tell you that I use Ultimate Wood Glue Tight Bond 3. Sometimes I use Elmer's, but with this job, we went with the heavy duty stuff because, we're putting together, 2 main pieces of body. Why is it all cloudy like this? Well, because after I got the last gluing part done, basically putting this part together, was the main fracture here, and this part together with big clamps holding it together in several places. We were left with quite a bit of chip out, cavity, call it what you want. But I got after it with a palm sander, and we have knocked it down to where it's pretty well, the 2 surfaces are getting close to level. Close enough that while you're playing it in this position as a bass guitar, you'll never notice. And what's going to help us facilitate the next step is, Bondo. It's Bondo. It's 2-part stuff. You put a little bit of this, and then you put a really little bit of this as the hardener. I have a huge amount of experience with the product Bondo for my entire life, being in the car business, the tool business. Body shops use this extensively for body repairs on cars. If you can't hammer something out completely, you prep it, which is what we've done, and you fill it with the Bondo. And this stuff, once you mix those 2 parts together, which we're going to do in this video, once you mix them together, you got about 5 to 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. If you get to 10 minutes, you're working with some really hard stuff. This side is going to be a little bit, I'm not going to do this part on camera because there's a lot of small areas, and it's going to take some real massaging to get the filler, the Bondo, as it were, into the small crevices. The main big crevice is here. I don't know if the camera will get that right there. It's pretty deep. There was a lot of paint and wood splintering, chip out, call it what you want, but that's the main part that we're going to concentrate on. From here to here, we've got a little bit down in here, but I'm going to save that for when I do the front. And I think this little part right here, there's a huge divot in the wood, and this stuff is perfect for that. Oh, and by the way, this is not Bondo for auto body. It is literally Bondo for wood. It is a little bit different formula. Same concept. You get it in there, you work it, get it feathered out. If you ever worked with drywall, you get it into the crevices, right? You smooth it out and float it, and then let it do its thing. It will harden within an hour. Almost within an hour, it's ready to sand and bring back down to shape. And once it fills in there, you prime it and you repaint. We're going to change the color on this guitar. We might keep it a green, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. You decide what color we're going to paint it, but don't say white because the green will show through. Let's do something like black, or maybe another green, maybe a forest green like this. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, we got a chip there too. A little bit of Bondo on that. So once we get it mixed, yep, use a couple of Harbor Freight plastic putty knives, different sizes. If you're working with a really big area, that's what you would use, but we're not using that. It could be one or the other or both of these. I'm going to choose this one for now. And yeah, we're going to get to it. I'm going to open this stuff. I'm going to get a little bit here off camera. And when we come back, I'm going to put a little bit of hardener in it, mix it up, and we're going to start floating. We're going to start floating. The tricky areas are going to be where you get around a corner, around a radius, something that has been routed, on a die machine at the factory. I really want to concentrate, just for the purposes of our demonstration here today, this main cavity right here where it got mated back together. Because once we put that stuff in there, we should be able to eventually smooth it off and go to the finished paint process. But today it's Bondo Day. Stand by. So I forgot to mention, use a little naphtha to clean off your work surface, right? Basic stuff. Open up your Bondo, right? Put a little bit on a work surface. Have your working tool ready, your putty knife. Now, when you get a round spot like this, all you do is, and make sure that you work the hardener. Once you put this hardener on there, we're going to do this in real time. I'm going to mix it, and once it's all mixed together here, it's ready to put on, right? All you do is put a little line right across. That's all it takes. Hardener to get this stuff ready, right? And then that's it. You start putting it together. And once that hardener gets in there and it's all the same color, you're ready to start applying it. And by the way, the more hardener you put on, the quicker it's going to bond up and start to harden. It is a fast process. Once it gets there, oh, and by the way, it's the same color. And try to do this in a ventilated, well-ventilated area, because as soon as you open that can of Bondo, it stinks to high heaven. So this is going to go pretty fast, and that'll be the end of this video. We're going to show us putting a little bit on there, mix it. It's a lot like JB Weld. In fact, JB Weld has their own product very similar to this. It's a chemical reaction. Once you get it together and there's no more blue streaks and it's all the same color, you got a few minutes, 5 maybe to 10 minutes to really start working it. And then we're going to put some on. Once it's all the same color, it's ready to apply. And you just go to it. Right, and push it down into whatever cavity you're trying to work with. A little goes a long way. It looks like a mess, but you kind of push it down into the cavity and try to get it as level as you can. It's already starting to harden up. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's already starting to harden up. Just that fast. We may have to make another one. We may have to make another one because it's really getting hard fast. Yeah, probably for that little amount of actual filler that we had. Yeah, it's already starting to get hard. Just that fast. What was that? Like a minute and a half? Yeah, it's already turned to clay. So we didn't even get to where I wanted to on it, but we got most of it filled in. It's like really hard wood filler that you actually have to press into the cavity. That's all right. Well, yep. Everybody said be careful how much hardener you put on. Look at that. That's already starting to get, it's already turned to unusable. Just that fast. So the next time I do this, I'm going to use about a quarter of the hardener that I used in this one. But we're going to let this dry a little bit, and yeah, it still is going to work because we pushed it into the cavity. But it's going to take more than one application, I can already tell, right? Yeah, Bondo. I've watched body guys do this at auto repair shops for my entire career. Never used it myself like this. I've watched them mix it and they go, don't talk to me. Oh, I got a few minutes. They put it on the fender or the quarter panel or whatever dent they're working with. But once that dries, we're going to have to reapply over here because it just got too hard. I literally had one swipe to get it right. So we know we got to use a little bit less hardener the next time. Stand by. So just so you know, I mixed up a second batch and I used not even a quarter of the hardener and it hardened up just as fast. So be really, really, really careful of the hardener. And this is why you use plastic, because if you just kind of, it peels off like a pancake. That way you can reuse your your pads as often as you need to, or as often as you can. These are reusable still. So I made a second batch and I reapplied in the areas that we missed here, including this little divot. The next step is you got to let it cure completely. It's already pretty hard. The next step is going to be zzz. So when we come back in the next video, I'm going to show you this sand it down and what it looks like, and we'll go from there. I'm going to try to show you as many steps as possible. This is sort of an experiment for me too. I wanted to do the biggest, easiest part just to illustrate what this stuff does. It's pretty amazing stuff, and it's a permanent fix. And by the way, wherever this pushes in, if you get it pressed into the cavity, wherever you have a defect, it also helps to hold the whole instrument together, the body, the two pieces that were already glued together. And we'll sand it down, and this stuff is paintable, it's stainable, it's everything. So it's already getting hard. That's the wood. That's the wood Bondo. We'll talk soon. It's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. I don't know if any of you have ever had any experience with this type of operation, but I thought I'd show it. We'll get to the next steps on this guitar in the future. We'll talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. We'll